Now that you've gone and gathered some of your things from around the house, I just want to say a little bit about composition and how to make a really cool layout for your favorite objects. It's not just about piling them or having a lot of negative space with like one action figure hanging out in the middle. You want to be smart about how you do this. So let's look at three different examples. One of the games that my family loves to play the most is something called Carcassonne. You lay out these little tiles and try to build cities, and it's really fun. What also is cool is that it has a really neat graphic feel. Now, I could take a picture of the whole board just like this and have to draw each little piece of wood figurines and different tiles. And that wouldn't be bad. But instead, maybe I want to focus in. Maybe I want to get real close and kind of zoom in on just a couple of things. I noticed that the green people don't stand out against all of the game pieces as well as the red and blue and black. So I can take different pieces and actually form myself a little scene or use some forced perspective. Forced perspective is when like if all of a sudden I held one of these closer to the camera so they look really big and then I just see my tiles behind it. In this module, I will also have some pictures and photographs of final products. But really play around with, especially game pieces, what different angles, what different viewpoints can you have? Can you have a hand rolling a dice and that be part of the game? The second option is maybe you have some action figures or Legos or Barbies, something that's a little bit less game-like. Those can make really, really cool drawings, especially if you get up and close and personal with each of the toys. So again, I could take a shot out here of all three, the two monsters and the dinosaur, but it doesn't really tell me a whole lot. Instead, I could make them closer to each other and start overlapping. This is kind of a bit more of an interesting composition to me because I have one in the foreground, one in the middle, and one in the background. I could just zoom in on one completely so that it fills the frame. I just have to make sure it's a little bit better focused. Or I could even put these creatures into a setting or a scene. But even if you're just focusing on the fact that they are plastic toys, you can do that in some really cool ways. It could be a perspective that you wouldn't normally see one of them at, like maybe one is turned a different way. Maybe they're interacting somehow. But find a way to come up with a creative and cool composition. One easy way is just like this, where you engage the edges of the picture frame. Now, I know a lot of you are gamers, although you might not have quite as vintage pieces as these. These are my husband's, who has been playing Nintendo since he was like 5 or 6 or whenever it came out. But instead of just stacking the games in a big pile and putting the controllers next to it, I've kind of made an arrangement using odds versus evens. There's basically 3 games with the 2 controllers in between, whereas the cords from the controllers kind of wrap around. I've also set these so there are a lot of diagonal lines, and this exact cropping engages the edge of the page. So this would actually be a really good one. Or again, you could zoom down in and really get up close and personal with some of these objects. This would also be a good cropping. Again, I've got a lot of diagonal lines. I'm now down to about 3 shapes, which is odds versus evens, and it fills the frame. For each of your different objects, I want you to try to take 3 to 5 pictures different ways to really help these things look super cool. And there you have it. Just make sure you take multiple pictures of each option so you can really try different techniques and different angles. That's going to really make your drawings a lot better than just doing the first shot you can think of. Good luck.